Alright, so I've been playing Dragon Age the Veilguard for about 17 hours now, and Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth for about 21 hours. And this has been on my mind, so I don't really talk about video games that much on my channel, but I'm gonna talk about it because I'm a huge fan of Dragon Age. Okay? Dragon Age Origins, amazing game. There's some pacing issues with that game, and combat can be really slow, but what's really important in that game, in a game like Dragon Age, the story, the characters, most of that, no problem, right? Amazing, right? Dragon Age 2, combat, I like the combat more in a way than Origins in terms of the flashiness, and you still have more than like three skills like you have in freaking Veilguard, right? Like, the Veilguard, like you have like three or four skills, which is ridiculous. And then in Inquisition, I think the combat is worse than Dragon Age 2, but I think the story and the characters are a little bit more interesting in Inquisition versus Dragon Age 2. Anyways, I've been playing the Veilguard, and I don't want to play the game anymore after 17 hours. Now, Rebirth I do want to play, and I brought up Rebirth for a reason. But first, I want to talk about the Veilguard. So, there's many problems with the Veilguard, many problems, right? But one of my main problems is the story and the characters. I know a lot of YouTubers have already talked about this, but I just want to point out. So the story, after playing a couple hours, you will figure out that there is a blight, a darkspawn blight, right? Basically, end of the world in Thedas, right? But this time, there's two elven gods that are coming down to take over the darkspawn and to basically destroy Thedas. So the blight is worse than any other blight that has happened in the past. I forgot how many blights there's been, like 5 or 6, right? But so basically the whole world is ending and the stakes are as high as possible. Yet most of the characters act like nothing is happening. They act like the stakes are so low. Like Bellara, for example, she's like a Pixar Disney princess in a game like Dragon Age, and she doesn't fit in the story of the game, but she fits in the graphics and the mood of the game, if you know what I mean. Like the game plays and feels doesn't play and feel like Dragon Age, and the plot is mismatching with the characters and what's happening on screen. Like the plot on paper is great, in my opinion. Okay, the relationship with Solus and everything is a little bit convoluted, especially if you haven't played Trespasser from Inquisition. But I think the story on paper is good. But the execution and the writing with the characters, those two are just clashing so hard, right? And I'm not just talking about the companions, but I'm talking about the villain. Okay, watch this. Right, this is what I'm gonna show. Ready? Look at the arch team. I mean, the one of the elven gods. Look. You know, it looks so cartoony. It's not just the art style; it's the way they've designed the movement of the characters, right? And the dialogue is very basic. You know, you have no player agency. Okay, I'm just gonna go on a rant of how many problems there are, but basically, this game, it has this really urgent, really epic plot that sounds like, you know, really bloody, a lot of deaths, right? But it doesn't match what you're seeing in the game. It's like two different games. If I playing this, I feel like I'm playing Fable. You know? And no offense to Fable, but this is Dragon Age. Right? You know, and okay, I'm just gonna stop there about Dragon Age. But the reason I brought up Rebirth is funny enough, Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth is more of a Dragon Age game than the Veilguard. Both of those games, you have companions, right? You have a somewhat linear areas in the game. Well, Rebirth is more like Inquisition as well, but Rebirth has like linear areas and has open areas, right? Rebirth does those areas way better than Veilguard does, right? And the characters, I mean, like Tifa and Cloud can be a little cringy, but they're cringy in their own style, and it makes sense. They're distinct characters, right? And because of how the story is laid out in Final Fantasy VII and the pacing, for example, you have like in Chapter 5, right? I'm not sure if I have it here, but you go to like this whole whole ship, right? You're like dressed up as the soldiers from Shinra, and then you go on this ship adventure. So you have a whole chapter of like playing Queen's Blood and everything. So the pacing is done very well, right? You have like a big fight, and then you go on this ship, and then you go to this vacation in the game, right? And there's like very funny moments where you like dress up as the soldiers from Shinra, and then you have this whole dance sequence, right? And you have these really nice cutscenes, by the way, right? So things are serious, but not serious in the right ways and at right times, right? And this is also a Japanese game, so I'm just trying to say like, and also the combat here is very action focused. But guess what? You can control your companions, right? You can control Tifa, Aerith, Red, Barret, Aerith, whoever, right? But in the Veilguard, you can only control Rook, which is ridiculous, right? And in this game, there's the Queen's Blood. There's that mini game with the cards, right? But in that game, I don't think there's a mini game like that. Okay, I'm just gonna stop talking right here. Okay, I'm gonna keep playing Rebirth. And also the boss battles. The boss battles are way more interesting too. And there's like different combos. Like the combos in the Veilguard are so basic, right? You pull up this like panel on the screen, and then you pause, and then you see like, oh, combo this with that. So Davrin can combo with Harding, for example, right? It's like really basic. But the combos, the synergy combos in this game gets deeper. There's multiple of these combos, right? And then the way you can like chain moves together, the combat is amazing. This game is a better Dragon Age game than Dragon Age Veilguard. And this game, more importantly, Veilguard is trying to be an action game, right? Because it's not an RPG anymore. This game does better action and RPG than the Veilguard. And how long did they spend making the Veilguard versus this game? This game, I don't know how long. This came out like, I don't know, 3 years after the remake. So like this game, they probably took like 4 or 5 years, right? How long did it take to make the Veilguard? Rebirth, 4 to 5 years. Veilguard, I don't know, longer than that, right? Yeah, I'm just playing these two games like in the same year, man. I mean, in some areas, Rebirth, like I'm currently in chapter 6, it can get a little bit boring at times, but it catches up. The pacing is way better in this game. So yeah, I'm done ranting, okay? I'm gonna eat my Haribo, play more Baldur's Gate and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.